Madam, but this is the person we saw in the picture. Oh my God, you guys are crazy. They may share a certain resemblance, but they are not the same people at all. Don't you have eyes to see the differences? And I was thinking this was going to work out. I thought you guys are professionals. Why can't you carry out a very simple task? She said, already shouting. Madam, please don't pour your anger on us. It's not our fault. Whose fault is it? Mine, right? I'm not giving you the balance, just so you know, she said, becoming angry. Madam, what do you mean? It's like you don't want to leave this place alive. What? How do you expect me to pay you in full when you didn't even get the job done? This girl is obviously useless to me, she said in anger. What you're saying is not our concern. Give us the balance now, one of the kidnappers said, already bringing out his pistol. Okay, see the money here, take it, she said in surrender. Now you're talking, so what do you say we do to the girl? Please just take her back to the school. In short, anywhere people would see her so that she can go back home. Make sure you don't get caught. It was a bumpy ride to the police station. What can we do for you, madams? The first policeman they met asked. We're here to file a report of a missing person. Mrs. Alade looked around. She had never been to a police station before. I guess there's a first time for everything, she thought to herself. Hung on the wall were the pictures of the president, his vice, the governor of the state, and the commissioner of police consecutively. There were at least 4 men on the counter, and one sleeping at the far end. There was the usual cliché writing on the wall, "Police is your friend." They were really her friends, Mrs. Alade thought in sarcasm. So how old is this person? The policeman asked, writing everything down on his notebook. She's just 4 years old, Mrs. Alade answered. When did she go missing? Today. It should be around after 1 this afternoon. What's her name? Ruby Alade. Okay, I think that would be all for now. I'll call you back for feedback. Please write down your phone number here, the policeman said, as he placed a paper in front of her. After everything, they left. Wow, that was a hell of a day, the headmistress said as they reached outside the police station. It was already getting dark when they were through. Mrs. Alade, I think you need to go rest now. The police would do their best to find her. I guess you would find your daughter before the end of tomorrow. I pray, Mrs. Alade said. She went home. She couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned. She was in so much worry that she even worried for herself. Meanwhile, it was around 6 p.m. Ruby was dropped off by the kidnappers in front of her school. She didn't know what to do. There were not many people around, even if she was to meet anyone. She didn't know who was bad and who wasn't. She was very scared. She didn't even have her mother's number off heart, so she could go to the nearest phone booth and call her. Then she remembered she was with the book where her friend Sarah had written her phone number. She ran to the nearest phone booth she could find. Auntie, please, I do not have any money, but I would like to make a call, she told the young woman she met there. The woman had pity on the young child. She seemed lost. Are you lost? No, I know this place, but it's far from my house. I want to call for them to pick me up. Okay, where's the number you want to call? Let me dial it for you. Thank you, Auntie, Ruby said happily as she handed the phone to her. Take it, it is dialing. Rose was about to go upstairs when the landline phone rang. She picked it up. She wondered who was calling. Yes, who is this? Rose said as she picked up the phone. Hello, Auntie. I'm Sarah's friend, Ruby. Okay, should I give the phone to Sarah? No, Auntie. I need your help. I'm around the school and I want you to come and pick me. I'm alone and scared. Rose decided not to ask more questions. She figured she could go and pick the little girl up with her husband's car before he would come back from work. Okay, I'm on my way. Auntie, thank you. Rose dropped the phone after the call. Sarah was having her dinner. She met her on the dining table and told her everything. They decided to go together to pick up Ruby. They drove to the school, but they couldn't find her. Rose guessed that since she called from a phone booth, she would be somewhere around. They drove around the area till they spotted her. Mummy, see ya, She's the one, Sarah said happily. Rose looked and saw the little girl sitting opposite a young woman who she guessed was the owner of the booth. They stopped the car and went to pick her. When Rose saw her, she was shocked. She wondered how someone else would share so much resemblance with her daughter. They literally looked alike. When Ruby saw Sarah, they ran and hugged each other. "Auntie, good evening. Thank you for coming to pick me up," Ruby said. "No problem, my dear. You guys should enter the car. Let's leave this place." "Thank you for keeping her safe," Rose thanked the booth attendant. "It's nothing. Good night, Ma," she replied. "Yes, good night," Rose replied. They got into the car. "So, Ruby, where did you say you live?" Rose asked. "I live in No 11 Ajao Estate," Ruby replied. Rose thought, "If I go all the way to Ajao Estate this night, I won't make it in time before my husband comes home from work. She would probably stay in my house, then we would call her parents tomorrow. And since it would be Saturday, it was a better option." "Ruby, you may not like what I'm about to say, but you won't be able to go back home tonight. It's already late, and it wouldn't be convenient going to Ajao Estate this night." "You'll stay with us this night? Then I would call your parents tomorrow. You'll be sharing rooms with Sarah. I hope this is okay with you," Rose said, smiling. "Yes, Auntie. It'll be fun to have a sleepover with Sarah," Ruby said happily. "But tell me, Ruby, what happened to you? What are you doing out here by this time?" "I was in class waiting for the driver that picks me up, when a student came and told me that my mum had come to pick me. When I went to the car she pointed at, instead of seeing my mum, I saw 3 men I had never seen before. They told me that they were sent by my mum and I should get into the car. I did so without hesitation. Then they sped off. Immediately they left the school premises. They rubbed a handkerchief over my face. Then next thing was, I found myself in a room. I was blindfolded, so I couldn't see a thing. I heard the men making phone calls. After some time a woman arrived. I heard her voice. She wore a peculiar cologne. She then said I wasn't the right person and that I should be released. Then they dropped me off here." Rose listened in shock. "Wow, that was one hell of a story," Rose said after Ruby had concluded her story. "Does it mean that school is no more safe?" Rose asked rhetorically. When they reached the house, Rose was happy that Mike wasn't back yet. She parked the car in the exact position it was before she took it so Mike wouldn't suspect. They went inside and she gave Ruby some food and took them to bed. She told them not to leave the room till morning because she knew that if Mike was to find out she was keeping someone else's child in their house, he wouldn't take lightly with her. And she didn't have strength to start giving any explanations, which he wouldn't listen to anyway. So it was just better he didn't see Ruby at all. As she was closing the door to her daughter's room, her phone rang. It was Tony. "Rose, how are you?" Tony said as soon as Rose picked the call. "I'm fine, ooh. Is there any problem? This one you're calling me by this time. So I can't call my friend any time again. Anyways, I just called to tell you that Lola and I would be coming to visit tomorrow. It'll be a girl's day, yay," Tony said excitedly. "Hee, is that why you're this happy? It's fine. I guess I don't have much to do tomorrow, so it's okay with me when it's okay with you," Rose said. "So I can't be allowed to be happy again, so you'll be seeing us tomorrow. Good night." "Good night, my dear," Rose said as she put off the call. It was around 9 p.m. when Mike came back home. Rose greeted him at the door. "Welcome, Mike." "Yes, thank you," he said dryly as he went upstairs. "Go and freshen up so that you can come down and take your breakfast," Rose said. "I'm not hungry," he replied, "but I thought..." "Woman, which part of 'I'm not hungry' did you not understand? Please, I don't need stress this night. I'm just coming back from work. My day was hectic and I'm tired." "Okay, ooh," Rose decided not to disturb him anymore. Just as he was about reaching the top of the stairs, he saw Sarah with another girl of her age. "Daddy, welcome. Good evening, Uncle," Sarah and Ruby said in unison. Immediately, Mike turned his back to give Rose a look that screamed dangerous. "How are you guys?" he asked, faking a smile as he turned back to face them. Daddy, we're fine, they replied. Sarah, aren't you supposed to be in bed by this time? It's already late. Mike asked. Yes, Daddy, I'm supposed to be in bed, but I wanted to show you my friend, so I waited for you to come back. Her name is Ruby, Sarah said happily. Hello, Ruby. How are you? I'm fine. That's nice. Okay, you guys should go to bed now if you don't want to wake up with a headache, all right? Yes, Daddy, they said as they walked back to Sarah's room. Immediately they left. Mike gave Rose a murderous look. So I need an explanation to why someone else's child is staying in this house, Mike asked, as he lowered his voice so that the girls wouldn't hear. She needed a place to stay, so I needed which place to stay. Did I tell you this house is a charity home? Does it look like I built this house to bring in strays? It's only God that saved you this night. I would have given you the beating of your life, so that you'll learn your lesson. Just so you know you're not sleeping in our room this night, Mike said angrily. But Mike, what did I do? Wait, are you asking me what you did? Rose just kept quiet as Mike walked upstairs. She went to the guest room to sleep. It was around 10 a.m. the next morning. Rose heard the doorbell ring. She went to open the door. It was Tony and Lola that came to visit her. They fulfilled their promise, Rose thought, as she opened the door for them. Tony, Lola, I'm so happy to see you guys, ooh. What would we do without our friend? Lola replied. You guys should come in and sit down. See how she's saying it as if we're newcomers in this house. Tony said, Hey, Tony, I know you're not newcomers, but do you want to stand? Biggie, leave that one. I have gist for you guys, ooh. You know that woman that lives in front of... Tony started her gist. Rose and Lola just prepared themselves well, because they knew that if Tony starts her gist, she won't finish anytime soon. Tony was the noisemaker of their clique, the drama queen. She gets her gossip from everywhere. Sometimes it shocked Rose and Lola. She was light-skinned, not too pretty, but had a beautiful body. While Lola was the pretty one, she didn't talk too much, but she talked enough for them to hear her. So that was what happened to Tony said, as she concluded her gist. Ha! Tony the gister, Rose said in mock praise. Tony don't mind her jaw gist on, Lola said in support. So Rose, how have you been now? Lola said. I'm fine, ooh, not much trouble. What of that your housemaid now? What's that her name again? Tony asked. Okay, Amy, I don't know. I've not heard from her in like 2 weeks, and she hasn't called me to tell me if there's anything wrong. I've been doing things myself around the house. Yeah, she will come around. Have you considered getting a new one? You know you need help around the house. Yes. Ooh, but I want to wait to get to know why Amy stopped coming. At least I can do things by myself for now. Mummy, we're ready, Sarah said as she came down the stairs with Ruby. Okay, you guys are ready. I'm coming. Let me go and get the car keys. Go and wait outside. So girls, I think you can follow me. Since you're not going back home anytime soon, it's just to take that little girl back to her house. I may drop Sarah there, so that we can go somewhere fun and have a proper girls' day out. Rose said to her friends as Sarah and Ruby walked out. Who did you say that little girl is? Tony asked.